In this lesson, we're going to talk about using one object to measure distance or an angle on another object. So here's our example, and you can see that we've got our plane in a S shape here, kind of bending up. You can see we've got this kind of square shape that is extruded down. Now, a couple things to notice here. It does actually continue down onto this flat surface and up onto this flat surface here. And when it's extruded down, you can see that we do actually go straight down. It doesn't angle in. So what we want to watch out for is this distance right here. Notice these two parallel lines have a distance, as do these. We want this distance to be the exact same as those ones. All right, so to start off here, I'll go ahead and control right click, Edge Ring Utilities, and Split. And we'll go into the options for that, and we'll change the type to multi so we get 3 even faces. We'll go ahead and grab this face and we'll get it moving in the Y direction. We'll hold down V and middle mouse drag over this point right here. So we can use an object over here to get the distance of this one over here. All right, now we need this cut out right here in order to extrude down. So we're going to need a few extra edges in here. And maybe we'll try this one a different way. Maybe we'll just grab this. And instead of doing the multi, we can do it singularly. So we can go like that. And then I can get this moving. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit Wireframe Unshaded. And I want this one to actually line up with this right here. Then I'll click on this edge and hit G. Then we'll get this moving in this direction. I'll hold down V again, middle mouse drag over this point. So again, using one to just gauge a distance on another one. All right, now it does come down onto this surface right here. So we're going to need a couple extra up here. For these, maybe I'll just go to Mesh Tools, grab my Insert Edge Loop tool, and I'll place one in here, and I'll place one in there. So now, if we want these to be equidistant, we're going to have to go in and adjust the numbers on these. So we'll go to the Poly Split Ring node, and we'll do 0.5 for the weight on that one. And then we'll go down to this one, and we'll change that to 0.5. So many ways that we can go in and split things on here. All right, now if I want to tighten up this distance, I could type numbers in there if I wanted to, or I could just grab these edges and I'll hit my Arc key for scale and I'll just pull them only in this direction. Notice I'm not using the one in the center because that's going to pull everything off of its axis. So make sure you just grab that one. All right, so we've got everything that we need to be able to grab these 3 faces and extrude them down. So let's go ahead and do that. Grab those 3 faces. We're going to go to Edit Mesh, under the face, and we'll extrude. Now, rather than pulling this down, I'm going to do something a little bit different because I'm not really sure what this handle is going to give me. It generally goes off of the normal direction of the surface, but I don't usually trust that it's going to give me what I need. So I will go ahead and just hit W to go to my Move tool, and I'm going to pull that down about to there. That looks pretty close to that same distance right there. All right, now what you'll notice is we have these 2 parallel edges, and those are the same, but this one is a little bit more narrow. So now after the fact that we've extruded this down, we need to come up with a way to measure this distance. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to go ahead and grab a cube, and let's just snap that to there for now just to bring it up to the front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap this cube to this corner right here. So in order to do that, I need to move my pivot point over to here. So I'm going to hold down the D key and the V key, and I'm going to middle mouse drag right over here. So that's D and V. All right, so my pivot point is now in there, and now I can snap it to that corner. So what we'll do now is we'll take this top face here. I'll just grab all of these verts, And I'm going to get these moving in the Y direction. And then I'm going to go ahead and snap them to this point right here. So I'll hold down V, middle mouse drag over there. So now what we've done is we have measured the distance from this point to this point. And we now can transfer that over to here. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and scale this out a bit. Just make sure it's long enough. We're going to bring it down this slope right here. And in order to get it positioned to where we need it, we're going to want to snap it to this point right here. So again, I'm going to hold down D and V, and I'm going to middle mouse drag over that point. Now I can hold down V and snap it to that one. All right, so now it's on the point that we need. And what we need to do now is go ahead and rotate this thing down. All right, so I'll hit E to go to my rotate tool. And I'm going to grab this handle right here on the Z axis, and I'm going to rotate this down. But you can see it's fairly difficult to get it perfect exactly where I need. So here's a little trick that works out really quite nicely. Rather than grabbing the handle and moving right here, I'm going to grab this handle and I'm going to pull my cursor way over to here. And then when I rotate down, I'm moving a greater distance, so it enables me to be a little bit more accurate as I'm doing this. All right, that looks good. Now all we have to do, now that we have that on there, is we need to grab these verts, and I can just simply move this straight back. I don't want to adjust it in any other axis because I would pull it off. We want to maintain these two parallel lines. All right, and then this one, we'll pull this back. And we can zoom in a little bit if we wish to. And we'll make sure that that one looks good as well. All right, so now we'll go ahead and we'll take this object. We no longer need it. We were just using it for measurement. But we have a nice even distance running all the way through there. All right, let's go ahead and do some bevels on here. And for this one, I think I'll go ahead and run my bevels all the way through. So these ones will go all the way through to the back. And there's this one, that one all the way down. We want to make sure that we don't do these ones because we want a nice smooth edge right there. And we're going to want to make sure we don't do these ones as well. All right, so we'll grab these. And we'll grab these ones. All right, that's everything we need. We'll go ahead and go to bevel. And we'll change that bevel to 2 segments. And we'll change this to maybe 0.2. That looks pretty good. All right, you can see all of our bevels look great. Of course, part of that is because we continued it all the way through the surface. But that's okay. And that leads us to one other topic that I want to talk about here. First, let's hit 3 on that. And you can see that we do have our extra faces here that we'll delete. Okay, I'll just select those. Just hit delete. Let's go ahead and turn wireframe on shaded off. You can see everything looks wonderful. So this is all well and good. Up until the point where we don't have a flat edge on these. And so now it becomes a case of, well, what do we do with all of this geometry? You know, what if we have a rounded edge up here? Nice round like that. Or what if this surface had something going on? You know, basically we can't have these 3 edges running through there. So there's a couple different ways that we can remedy this. I'll go ahead and dupe this and move it over. All right, so one of the ways that we can take care of this is we can grab our multi-cut tool, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring an edge to the middle of that one and all the way back to that one. Okay, and then all we have to do is grab that edge, and I'll do a Control Delete to make sure we delete the edges and the faces. And then I can grab this one and just hit delete. So now we have a quad here, we have a quad here, and we do have 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a quad right there. All right, now another thing that we could do is to just spread this information out. So in this case, I would grab maybe that vert and that vert. Maybe bring those out to there. Bring those ones out to there. And so what we can do here is we can just spread these out a little bit to where maybe they go into a different section. So that would be something similar to this. Okay, you can see in this one specifically, I did go down to a point there, and then I just ran those into the edge of this curve right here, into this arc. However, if we did still have all three like we do on this one, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points right there. And then if we had 8 points on this curve right here, we could just simply run those into that as well. I do think that doing that would be a little bit more cleaner than doing this. I think a scenario like this, where we just want to just flat out get it down to 1, I think that's a case where you do this little kind of kite effect here, where we delete the one in the middle. But I think if you're going to something like this, I think I would take all 3 of those and maintain them rather than cutting them down like we did here, and run those into that arc as well. All right, so there is a look at quite a few things. One, using an object to measure distance and to measure an angle as well. And we also measure distance on this. And a look at reducing some of the geometry on these edges. See you in the next lesson.